Roll for Crit coming to you from Gen Con. Today we're talking about Corinth, which is the newest roll and write game from Days of Wonder. In the game, you're all traders in the city of Corinth, and you are trying to collect resources, coins, goats, other materials in order to prosper better than everyone else, get the most points. On your turn, you're rolling dice, and let's say I rolled a bunch of different dice with different numbers 1 through 6. What would I do with them, Will?
Well, you actually have a fun little board, and you actually take the highest number, whether it be 6 or maybe something a little lower, put it at the topmost slot, and you take the lowest one, most likely 1, but could be something a little higher, and put it at the bottom. Then, starting from the bottom, you're going to put them in the next slot up. So hypothetically, if you rolled 1 of every number, you'd have at least 1 die in every slot. Not very common. There will be times when that second to last slot, or maybe even the one below that, will be empty because you just rolled a whole lot of 2s and maybe 1s. So what happens is once you roll all the dice and put them in the order like I said, you get to choose them. And you're probably going to choose maybe where there's more dice. And let's say, for example, there are 3 dice in a slot because they're all the same number. You're going to take those and add that many resources to your pool. So if there are 3 dice, you get 3 of whatever the resource it gives. Now, there's sort of basic resources, the goats, and like you mentioned before, and coin. But the big one is your resources for your marketplace. There are 4 resources for that, and you use them to fill up stalls. Now, a partially filled stall gives no points. But if you're able to fill it up, they will give points. Now, there's multiple stalls for each kind of resource, like olive oil, linens, but the smaller stalls will give less points, obviously, because they're easier to fill, but the bigger ones give more. And if you fill up all your stalls of that sort of resource before anyone else, you get a bonus points added to as well.
Yeah, there's a variety of different ways that you can get those points, and all of this is, if you haven't figured it out, marked down on a sheet. You're circling things, so when you get a coin, you're not actually getting a resource, you're just marking it off, you're circling something on your sheet, and then you cross it off as you spend it. Yeah, the game is played over 6 rounds per player, so each person gets to be the starting player 6 times, and then you stop and count up points. There's some other stuff, there's special things that you can, buildings that you can construct that will give you more points, more abilities.
There's actually I forget the exact term, like a wanderer or something, who, if you don't like a die, you can take it, then actually use the number on it to make them move around this little board, but it's like snakes, so you can't retrace your steps or anything, and you get resources there, so that's a whole other weird little metagame thing going on.
There's some very different stuff. In terms of roll and write, I mean, it definitely follows for more or less the formula. You're rolling dice, but I think that the big twist kind of is that board you're talking about, where they're sorted by number, and then the way you choose what to take is kind of interesting, because sometimes you might say, oh, I really wanted goats, but there's only 1 goat there, and someone else maybe wanted something else, so I'm going to steal it.
Right, or even like, I wasn't really looking for that, but oh my god, there's 4 dice in olive oil. How could I say no to that?
Yeah, I don't need any money, but there's 6 there, so I'm going to take it. So there's some interesting stuff there. It was fun. It's very quick. It plays quickly. I enjoyed it. I will say maybe my chief concern, and I wonder how you feel about it, is I wasn't sure what in terms of replay value, I felt like after only 1 game, to be fair, that in terms of the strategies and variety, it seemed like probably for the most part in these games, I feel like I would go one direction or another. You kind of get the coins, you get the goats, you kind of take what's available, whereas I like something like in Welcome To, where there's a ton of different houses you can build, and it seems like it's more complicated, but because of that, there are more decisions and different things you can try. I don't know if you felt that at all in this.
Well, I'm still trying to win any kind of roll and write game. I don't know why, but I can see where you're coming from, because I definitely, in this game, for example, there was a building that gives you an extra resource once you build it for free whenever you take it, and both you and Ivan built that very early on. I didn't, because for some reason I forgot it existed until like round 5, and I'm like, yeah, I needed that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, I'm sure there's some different avenues, but yeah, it kind of felt like a little bit one note in that regard. Still had fun with it, and it's still a light, simple game, and if you like roll and writes, I mean, it's well designed, the aesthetics are nice, the sheet is cool, so It's still one that I would recommend you definitely try and play, but maybe there are other ones first to get out to first if you haven't had a chance to play them yet. For more Gen Con content, like this video, subscribe to Roll for Crit, and follow us on all our social media platforms.
But if you really need more, you can visit our Patreon, where we'll be having exclusive little Gen Con mini podcast to listen to.
And there's our contest running right now for the Keyforge Age of Ascension set. You can try to win. Find the link in the description down below.